Yes.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first ever quarantine podcast of Unbox This with your hosts, Anthony, Craig, and Dan. You're going to hear us banner. You're going to hear us talk about gaming. You're going to hear us talk about action figures. You're going to hear us talk about nipples and titty grease and occasional reach-arounds. But seriously, welcome to our show. We hope you enjoy it.
Fuck yes. So what's going on? Oh, go ahead. I fucked that up.
Fantastic.
What's going on, everybody? No.
We're all cooped up in this quarantine shit, so don't mind us. We're basically going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, we want to touch base on, like, action figures, you know, gaming tech. Like, Craig's going to talk about, like, a bunch of gaming stuff that comes out, because he that's his, you know, his main department stuff. Danny, he is a wrestling, like god with stuff, so he's going to get in depth with all kinds of stuff related to wrestling, which is really cool. I'm a big wrestling fan. Craig just don't give a fuck about anything we like, but we're just going with that. I'm going to touch base on what's really cool is the new Spawn figure coming out, which is really cool. It's actually a revisited figure, the first figure that Todd McFarlane ever made, and he's redoing it on a Kickstarter, which is really badass. And there's a bunch of different variants you can get. What blew my mind, his goal on Kickstarter was $100,000. And one day he made $450,000, which is completely insane. So like that, so that's the second variant. And then there is another one. It's called the Artist Proof Spawn. That's unpainted. So it's really cool. So you get both heads with that, but it, like I said, it's completely unpainted, which is still badass to have like as a collector's item. And then you can get the first figure I was talking about signed for $80. I mean, that's a little bit pricey, but you know, I mean, that's amazing just to have in a collection.
Now, the first couple variants you were talking about, those were only for the backers?
Yes, like starting out. So what they don't really say in fine print is you're paying the $40 for the revisited figure. That's what I'm calling it. It's a beautiful figure. If you go to but just get in Google and type in Todd McFarlane Kickstarter, and then you'll see it all. The figure is so beautiful. It's 7 inches tall. It's so nice. It's almost in my opinion, it's 100% better than the Mortal Kombat 11 figure, and it's just gorgeous. If you looked at the original 1994 figure to this figure, I mean, you could see how much work they really put into this, which I was just completely, like, I didn't even know what to say. I was completely speechless, but I did back the one. I didn't get the signed one because I really don't want to pay $80, but the one thing I was going to say that they did really, you have to look into, after you pay the $40, you yourself actually have to pay for the shipping too when it's about to get shipped.
That's lame.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're paying. You gotta think. There's a lot of Spawn fans, and like, I knew for a fact his goal of $100,000, that would have been like surpassed by so much, and I didn't think it was gonna be that $450,000 much. But that is insane. And another thing I want to touch base on, he is really hell bent on making a Spawn film. So you take an instance, a figure he put out for $100,000 just for a figure. Can you imagine what these people would pay to see a movie?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that is just purely fucking insane. If he was smart, I wouldn't even. You know, I get some of my like buddies that like he's friends with, like in the industry of filming and stuff, and I would back, I would do the Kickstarter to do the film and that'd be insane because that'd be all profit for him. But there is one more variant. There is a 3-pack. So you get the classic spawn, the modern spawn, and the artist proof spawn. That's the one that's unpainted. All three of them together, that's $160. But still, this is stuff you'll never be able to get after this backing.
Gotcha.
So that is really insane. That's one thing I needed to get out there, which I'm a huge Spawn fan, and like that just blew my mind. Just seeing whenever he first posted it for $100,000 to get this stuff working, and not even a full 24 hours getting $450,000. That is purely insane.
Real quick, back to the variant, the Mortal Kombat variant. Is that, you said that is exclusive to a certain retailer, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No.
And is it out now on shelves?
It over on the West Coast it is, but I haven't seen it on the East Coast over here because I guess we're shitty. I don't know. That's like all the figure groups I'm subscribed to on like Facebook and everything like that. They get all the good figures, and we really don't get nothing. Like when me and Dan go out, and sure enough, I know you, Craig, when you go to look for something, you see that people posted about in different like groups and stuff.
Yeah, you don't see it in our area.
No, not at all.
I actually watched him do an unboxing on Instagram. It was just a short clip, and the figure looked, even that one, the Mortal Kombat variant, looked really awesome still.
Oh, dude, the articulation in that figure is so amazing. And what's really badass, there was one specific Spawn figure where he sits in his throne, which people are taking the original figure that came with that throne and tossing it the fuck away and putting that in Mortal Kombat 11, and it looks, holy shit, does it look amazing. Like, McFarlane makes some really good figures, and another thing I'm really impressed about is a lot of the Mattel figures, which, Danny, go ahead and explain, because you are the god of the wrestling figures. So go ahead.
Not a god, but I'm up there.
You calm down. Just explain.
So, this past weekend, Mattel released a whole bunch of prototypes and concept art of their newest lines coming out. They gave Elite 76 because right now in stores we're on 75, but you could still pre-order 76. Put out the prototypes for that. Elite 77, they put out concept art and prototypes of that. But two things that stuck out to me was Ultimate Edition 7. They re-signed Hulk Hogan.
I know, dude. Like,
Hollywood Hulk Hogan is going to be in Ultimate Edition 7.
That figure. I'm sorry, Dan, not to cut you off, but whenever you sent me that shit, I seen that. And I'm like, holy shit.
Well, I mean, it's only in black and white right now.
But still, dude. No, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan has been on wrestling collectors. He's been a want for a long time, and for them to actually get him signed is monumental. The other two things that stuck out in my head and to me on the forefront was they're doing a Decade of Dominance 2-part set.
Oh man, I'm so happy I pre-ordered that, Dan, that Undertaker.
So the first set is coming out in August, and that first set includes John Cena, Mark Henry, Natalya Neidhart, Randy Orton, and Undertaker. Each of these are based off some of the first appearances by these superstars. John Cena's not, because he's in his Gang outfits, but Natalya is Randy Orton, Mark Henry, and Undertaker. They're all based off of the first in WWE. It's going to be amazing. Now, the second set comes in, I think it's another quarter out of August. What is that? August, September, October, November. So around November, December. Second set will come out, including really cool Triple H. Two of his
Oh
matches
yeah.
in against Mick Foley. He's in his short trunks. And,
Oh, Dan, not to interrupt you, but is that the first figure that he's in his short trunks?
for Mattel, yes.
Because I specifically remember him wrestling, what, like maybe one or two times like that?
I think at most 3, but because he didn't care for the short trunks. Like he's a trunks guy. He's just the underwear type.
Yeah. But that's amazing that they're doing stuff like that, which is
And
really
then
cool.
the cane where he took his mask off.
Oh, dude, that looks beautiful.
His cinch hair and his blackened eyes. It's really cool. And that's the 2 things that come to mind whenever talking about it.
You know what figure that would go good with that, Dan? That one you just talked about, the cane when the unmasked and have the black, is putting it side by side with the fake cane Undertaker.
Oh, the one there was a Ringside Collectibles exclusive for that.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, and the packaging of that is actually Kane's mask that opens up to
Yeah,
reveal his figure.
I spotted out when I seen it on your shelf. I was like, is that a book or what is that? And then you told me what it was. I was like, wow, man, that's insane.
One other thing I want to talk about is Legends. The line stopped at 6, probably about 5 years ago, and now they finally came back and are having Legends 7. It's kicking back off from Legends 6, and that first wave, well, actually 7th wave, if you want to call it that, it's going to have Bobby the Brain Heenan in a Weasel outfit, Razor Ramon, Sting, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. It's pretty sweet.
That's like, I mean, there's so many good figures coming out. Like this 2020, despite what shit's going on now, there is so many good figures coming out. There's a lot of game tech coming out too, which we, I want to throw this out to Craig here now because he's been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and I mean, he all Nintendo with him. I mean, of course, PlayStation, everything like that, but he really sinks some time into Nintendo products. So go ahead, Craig, say what you need to say about some stuff.
Oh yeah, right now I'm like 60 plus hours into New Horizons, and enjoyed every second of it. It doesn't even feel like it's been that much time. I've been a huge Animal Crossing fan for quite some time, so it's all pretty familiar to me. But right now there's a event going on for Easter. Um, I've been really enjoying just trying to get the whole set of the Easter stuff. They really did a good job on this one. They really didn't change too much, but they added enough to make it new entry, which is what I like to see. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Um, Speaking on the gaming forefront, definitely the elephant in the room that I wanted to talk about. I know I touched base off camera to you guys about the DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5. Just want to get
Yeah,
everybody's opinion on it.
my opinion, like I really don't care what anybody says. What I've seen in that controller, I think they really improved from the PlayStation 4 controller. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie about this, but my to-go controller, if I had a choice to use on any platform, would be an Xbox One controller because I love thick layout, everything. But the new DualSense controller looks like like where you grip it at, it almost looks like it's a combination between a PS4 and a 360 controller, which looks really comfortable. And there is so much stuff they put into it with a built-in mic. That is amazing.
Yeah, I
So
did see you're gonna be able to have like quick voice chats without even plugging the headset in. You know, right off the bat, you'll be able to
you know
hear your party and everything.
what makes me really think like why they did it that way is what if they did that the way so you can have a universal way to connect Bluetooth headsets without no mic.
See, what bothers me is whenever the Xbox Connect came out, how terrible that sounded when you tried to talk with that, use it as a mic. I'm hoping that controller isn't going to sound exactly like that.
So my theory on that though, you got to think though for a second. Your Kinect is by your TV or monitor or whatever like that, and you're usually back away. Well, of course you need to be back away from the Kinect to actually use it if you wanted to play games. But I agree with you. The Kinect did sound like complete shit. Like like
It sounded
everybody
like
kind of, yeah,
like it sounded like you were screaming down a hallway trying to talk to
yeah.
somebody.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It was bad.
It's all because the Kinect and the PS Move and all that came out. They wanted to be a competitor to the Wii, which there's no way they can even compete with that shit. I'm sorry. I mean the PSVR now, yes, hands down. From what I experienced with stuff, but there's nothing that really draws me in to get a VR. That's why I don't have one. So that's just me. But since the
Just
controller's going to be in your hand
good.
and the mic's going to be right there, I think that would work pretty good. Because right now I have a Sony headset on right now, and the way the mic is, it's built into the wire, so it's actually laying on my chest. And you can hear me pretty good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be like the same thing, because I have my controller in my lap. So if I pick up my controller, it's like the same length for where the mic is with the headset. So I think it would be pretty good, in my opinion. Which that opens up a lot of things. So if someone has like a pair of Beat Solo fucking Bluetooth headset, they can connect it right to the PlayStation. You don't have to worry about the mic or anything like that, which I think is pretty cool. That hasn't been done in years. Since what, like the Game Boy had a built-in mic to play games and stuff. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the 3DS did.
Yeah, the 3DS did, and the actual Game Boy. Remember that, Craig?
The original like OG Game Boy.
Yeah, they had a mic, and then they had the picture thing you can use. And you remember the Dreamcast with that fish
Oh
game?
yeah. Something seeming.
So okay, let's all talk about what we do and don't like about the controller.
Okay.
Whoever can start.
I have three right off the top of my head that I wanted to discuss about it. One, I think even though they incorporated the new haptic feedback and the special triggers and everything, I get that. And I don't know if they had to change the controller dimensions to fit all that new tech inside. But one thing is bothering me, it strayed away from the traditional DualShock that we've been used to the last couple generations that didn't change slightly size-wise. That being said, I know one thing that was brought up to me from my fiance. She said the reason why she prefers the PlayStation controller over the Xbox is because she has smaller hands. It fits it more comfortable. So she's kind of worried on this next generation that's around the corner if she's going to be at some discomfort right out the gate because of this. And lastly, real quick, is I don't like the whole two-tone colors. I hope they do roll out. No, I just do not like it. I hope they roll out with some solid colors. I think it looks awful. That's just my personal opinion.
I think.
What about you, Dan? Good.
I mean, I don't have any gripe with it, but I hope the only thing I hope is since it is a white controller, I hope the console is white. I don't want a white controller with a white.
No, I completely agree with you. Now, here's the thing with the color thing that I really like. In my opinion, I do like the two-tone shit. But if the console, like Dan was saying, was completely different color, like all solid black, absolutely not. If the console matched the controller, I'm all on board. And another thing,
but that's like a buying point for me. It has to.
Oh yeah, 100%. And another thing I wish PlayStation would do was, get on board how Xbox does their controllers. The special edition controllers. Xbox will always be my favorite controller. I really don't care. Don't get me wrong. I like the PlayStation. I love the PlayStation because of the exclusives and everything like that. But I really prefer an Xbox One controller. That is my opinion, and I just wish, this time around where I've seen a lot of people, post, I wish, PlayStation would switch up their controllers and give people an option like they did with that what was that one controller, Craig? The it was interchangeable where you could move the analog and no for the PlayStation.
Oh,
It was made
I was trying to think. Well, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
but anyhow, you can actually move the analog and make it look like a Xbox One or 360 controller, which is really cool. But the price point is just a little bit too high for me. I really don't want to pay $200 just because the only thing I'd utilize is just moving the analog and the D-pad, and I don't want to pay $200 for that. That's my opinion. But other than that, I mean, I just wish Xbox would persuade PlayStation somehow to do custom controllers the way they do, if that makes sense. Because
on their website, like how you can customize your own.
Well, that and look how they make Gears controllers. What special edition controllers you got with PlayStation instead of just colors?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
So I mean,
Good point, yeah.
another thing though, another thing I was going to touch base on you, Greg. I watched a couple of people that had hands-on with the DualSense and stuff, and they talked about it, and they said that the guy had smaller hands, and he said it really fit perfect in their hands.
Yeah, it might have just been the way the angles of the
It's pretty-
photos
yeah,
captured
yeah.
and the way it was presented, but that
said-
was her concern right off the bat, that it was going to be too big for her hands.
And it's crazy to think of the feedback and stuff on the controllers and what was like the precision L2 and R2
And the triggers,
yeah.
Something Xbox has actually already had incorporated, because like for
And
their
that-
Forza games and stuff like that, they had the
exactly
rumble and the
and
triggers.
the feedback and stuff is they're pulling that from Nintendo. Like, come on now. What do they call that? The HD Rumble.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. They put inside this. And another thing, what blows my mind to no end, the Elite Series 2 controller for Xbox is rechargeable. But the original, well, not the original, but the controller that goes with the Xbox Series X takes batteries. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of think that's a bad move, because I mean that would be one downfall even of this generation.
Like, why would they want to keep
with
the
the
batteries?
DualShocks, yeah, like they're machined in. I mean, I'd rather have the choice to throw my own rechargeables in or be
I
able to swap
understand that,
batteries.
but you gotta think though, like either buy batteries or buy recharger batteries. That's something else you have to buy for your system.
Well, here's
Yes.
something else though. It's all of it's going to be backwards compatible anyway, so you're going to be able to use that controller. I understand that you're taking a step into backwards, but even if you bought the Elite 2, you're still going to be able to use it on your next.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% that, but 100% understand that. But the thing is, if people will be like, okay, well, I have enough money just to get the Xbox Series X, but I really want to recharge my controller, I don't think then people are going to be like, well, I'm going to throw out another $220 and get this controller so that it be rechargeable. Which makes no sense to me. I mean, like, I understand they want to keep, people like, Energizer, Duracell, and everything in business. I mean, of course, they're still going to be in business. I mean, just in the gaming world, but you got to think, man, people love the I love the rechargeable controller. I don't want to swap out batteries, and I really don't want to go buy battery packs and shit like that. That's just like, not to be ignorant about this, that's like Nintendo type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can play this game, but it won't play as good, so you have to get this system and blah blah blah. Just how Xbox is doing and how PlayStation did now, between the Pro and the OG and the Slim. It's like it's crazy. Like, I'm really pumped for Xbox Series X. I am, and it blows my mind that it's backwards compatible. The whole catalog, all the way back to the original Xbox. And the PlayStation, did you hear about, they said 400 games, now it's up to 1,000 of PS4, backwards compatibility. What do you think about that? I think that's not right to me. I mean, what if some games you got digitally won't play on your account?
Yeah, I mean that's first time I'm hearing the like numbers. That's some pretty big some gaps. I would definitely be disappointed, especially for a digital library, that those are bound to you, that you wouldn't be able to play them, especially right out the
Yeah,
gate.
just say it's a like a corny game you got you really like playing, but you want to upgrade your system, trade your system in, and you can't play it anymore. I mean, that's going to be a big selling point. I mean, that's just like how what was it when the Xbox One first came out? They said you can't. They didn't want to be able to trade games in once you use the game and stuff like that. You can't trade it in. You remember how they tried doing that?
Oh yeah,
And then PlayStation be like, well, you can borrow games and blah blah blah, and they did shit like that. So now it's a whole different thing where it's like now Xbox is going to be a lead. I understand the whole more powerful console and stuff. Another thing that's scary about the Series X is they were talking about ain't going to be no console exclusives for 1 year.
I think it's
Wow, I
definitely gonna
mean,
hurt. I mean, I think this generation, exclusive wise, Sony had it under wrap compared to Microsoft.
100%,
Yeah,
100%. I mean,
So what if Xbox only had Halo and Gears of War?
yeah,
or
and, I
I
mean.
mean, just a handful. But
The whole system seller for the Xbox right now is Forza. Like that's what everybody talks about is Forza because that's actually the best racing game out. People will like that stuff. Gears, in my opinion, was a big letdown. That's yeah, it was a big letdown. Like the story felt like four. Like it seemed like they just wanted to hurry up and do something.
yeah, I think they need to do a new IP, like a really big system seller, because I think as far as
Well,
that franchise, they kind of ran into the ground.
what I read, from like Game Rant and a couple other places that they're actually developing Fable 4. I don't know if you've ever played Fable before.
Oh yeah, yep. STDs and condoms. Yep.
Now, Dan, you recently been playing Final Fantasy. You want to give your input about that?
It's beautiful. It's amazing. I played 12 hours in one day.
So, can you just talk about a little bit of the combat, how you can go from classic mode to the modern day mode?
So, like, in the options, it says that you can go to classic mode, which is basically turn-based, but it's really not to me. I mean, there's no turn-based in it. You're still controlling the character, and you're controlling multiple characters and switching between them. So you might as well just go to the normal action. What do they even call that? I don't know what they call that. Just
I don't know. It's a whole new system they did.
it's just the combat system. You're
Yeah,
just running around like attacking stuff, but it's so compared to the classic version of it.
yeah.
You need to play it. You need to play it on the normal difficulty, and because it's so fluid. I was hesitant because I'm a turn-based guy. Like I like the original Final Fantasy VII. That was like my whole life back in the day, and it was turn-based, and I was real hesitant because I didn't care for Final Fantasy 15. I mean that's unpopular. I didn't like it, but this one, it's the same way, but it's completely different to me. It just feels like the mechanics, the combat, their not junction system, but the materia system, the leveling up of your weapons, everything, and the story and the texture. It's just the game is a beautiful masterpiece, and that's the only way I can describe it.
I
If you don't
remember
have it, you
playing
should get it.
7 on the PC, and I've been out of the Final Fantasy realm for a while. But this one would probably definitely want to jump back into at this point because
Oh,
I played
I
like
played.
7.
Craig, did you play the demo?
I did not know.
It like,
Just download a demo, man.
dude, it's so good. Now I got a question, Dan. Like, you played through 7. You beat 7 before, right? Now, does it follow to the T, or did they change some stuff around?
It doesn't follow to the T. It
Okay.
follows the same story. Hold on. It follows the same story. Everything is the same, but it's
All right.
not. They took things that were left out, like they touched on in the original one, and they completely revamped and elaborated it and brought its own life to that story. And
Okay.
so it follows everything perfectly, but it
All right.
adds more depth to the story.
All right. My question for you now is, since Resident Evil 2, all the Resident Evil, remakes that's coming about now, how would you compare Final Fantasy to a Resident Evil 2 remake of how well they did it?
They blew it out the water way better than Capcom's Resident Evil.
That's
That's
Now-
that's big. Because Resident Evil is superb, but this is 100% better.
Now, another thing I read about with the Final Fantasy combat system, they said it's a new system, but a lot of people have been commenting saying that it's almost comparable to the Xenoblade Chronicles system.
I've never played Xenoblade.
Neither have I. Craig, have you?
I have. It's something I kind of dabbled with, but it was nothing that actually held my interest long enough to really dig into. So, I mean,
So what I played of Final Fantasy, Craig, since you played that, see if this makes sense to you. So there is, hack and slash in the game, but if you want to do some moves, like you have an option to select moves like it's almost turn-based. Isn't that comparable to Xenoblade?
yeah, and like I know one Final Fantasy that stood out to me. I don't know if either of you played it. It was Crystal
No, fuck it.
Chronicles.
What?
Crystal Chronicles. I think it was
I-
back on
you
the
can play-
GameCube. No? Okay.
Yeah, it's on the Switch. Jessica has it.
Yeah, that was the last one that I really put enough time into to really have any opinions on anything, is what I was going to say.
No,
But,
I mean, you said you dabbled with
Yeah, with
Xenoblade
Xenoverse.
for a while.
Or Xenoblade, yeah.
Yeah, so what I
Yeah,
was
kind of
saying, there's,
reminiscent of that.
so hack and slash, but what if you want to do some like special moves or heal people and stuff like that, it
Still
gives you
allows
options.
you. Yeah,
It gives you options almost like it's turn-based, right?
yes.
So basically, this isn't a new system. It's another thing someone pulled from Nintendo because it works well.
I don't know why people are calling this hack and slash, because you have to have a lot of thought into this game.
Oh yeah, I mean it's strategy, but I'm just like,
And compare,
the reason-
let me, you played the demo. You haven't.
yes,
You haven't played the full game release yet. Compared to the demo, it's a lot more in depth. Like the demo is like amazing, and this
yeah, I agree.
like this is the combat system is not. It does not feel like the demo did. It feels you have to make every decision count. In this.
See,
Now when you're facing a boss, it's more like a Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
You have to know when to heal. You have to know when to dodge. You have to pick your battle. You have to
You have to be real strategic with stuff.
exactly, and it's beautiful, beautifully done.
So I agree with, like, whenever I played the demo, that's what I felt, because you had that one, mini boss at the end of the demo, which you had to have strategy to beat him. I mean, you just couldn't go in. I say hack and slash because it's like almost like a genre, but they implement the turn-based style too, of options you give for like spells or healing or special abilities and stuff like that, which I absolutely love. Like, I never really got into Xenoblade or anything like that because it just seemed like too much. And then I read about it before I even tried the demo that they said it's almost like comparable to Xenoblade, which I played the demo for this Final Fantasy. I'm like, wow, they did a really, really amazing job on this game. Like, the combat system is something I never messed with. And it made me feel like maybe I should have gave Xenoblade a chance. But, I'm stuck on one game right now, like that I want to finish, but I'm definitely gonna get Final Fantasy. And I love hearing about, whenever you used to play games and just tell me, like when Greg tells me about Animal Crossing, it really gets me pumped up.
I want to play it. I really do.
So do I.
I, honest to goodness, did
It
not
couldn't
want
have
to
came
until
out
Craig.
more of a perfect time with everything going on right now. Like, it's something just to escape.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I had no interest in it until you started posting and showing what you were doing, and I'm like, man, that looks super.
And Dan, you want to hear something crazy as shit too? And I confirmed it with Craig. I thought it was all Photoshop shit, but you can actually download specific things and put them on shirts or like wall art and stuff. Like I belong to a Spawn group, ICP Juggalo groups and stuff like that. And a lot of people play them, and they were walking around with Hatchaman shirts. They had ICP wall art on their inside their houses.
Oh, yeah.
Someone had a Misfit shirt on, a Spawn shirt. I'm like, wow, man, that's like. And the way Craig was telling me how you can do stuff, visit islands, like have people visit your place and just do like random crazy stuff, and it's all real time, just blows my mind. Like, that's something and I really want to get a Switch Lite. Like, my problem was when I had the original Switch, it's like, it just seemed like I don't know how to describe it. It just wasn't there for me, but. I just watch videos of the Switch Lite, and I just think, me personally, my opinion, I would prefer just a handheld Nintendo system.
Yeah, if you go into it with that mindset, it is, without a doubt, like, you just, it's enjoyable, especially some of the games that you can have on the go, or just sit back and not be tethered to, like, a TV or monitor, you know?
And it's really cool what I've seen with, there's those special attachments you can buy to hook to a Pro controller, and you can snap your Switch Lite into and use the Pro controller. I mean, that's something I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just get a grip. But, I mean, you have options, which is really cool. But the price point on the Pro controller, $70 brand new, that's a little much. I mean, in my opinion.
I could see a special edition, but yeah, it's still a little steep.
So, what I want to talk about too is how do you feel about these? I know Craig's seen them. I know Dan has them. How do you feel about? How do you think McFarlane did with these the newest DC figures that came out? Because they did some, they had some San Diego Comic-Con DC figures. When I don't know if you've seen the line where they had like Green Lantern versus like Predator. They had Superman versus Alien, Batman versus Alien, Batman versus Predator. That was all special for the San Diego Comic-Con, which they did a really excellent job on their figures then. If you ever get time, just go ahead and look them up. I mean, they're very expensive now, but how do you feel how McFarlane did the DC figures now?
Are these the ones that you're referencing, Anthony? Like you said, the 2-packs. Well, not the 2-packs, but the variants that you've been collecting recently. Is that the ones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you think Dan has a couple? How do you think they look, and how they're presented in the box? I mean, how do you think they did?
You want to go first, Dan?
All right. Me and Anthony's been talking. I was just waiting.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I love how they're presented in the box. I like the way they look. I haven't taken mine out of the box yet, but from what I understand and what I've seen, my gripe is the normal Superman, the normal Batman. That's just regular versions of them. They don't stand for crap. If you take them out the box, they're terrible to pose. They're terrible for display. But keep them in the box, they're amazing. Now, the armored ones out of the box,
they stand well. That's what I heard.
Yes. What?
So
normal ones?
So this is what I heard, Dan. The animated Batman and Superman will not stand worth a shit.
They don't. No.
Now there's three other variants. Well, two other variants of Batman, and then they have one of the Superman that's regular. They stand all right, but not great. What I really like about the regular Superman I got is it comes with a stand where you can make him look like he's gonna fly or anything like that, which is really good. But Batman does not.
Jeez.
But it's really weird with the cartoon variants of Superman and Batman. I mean, they look really good. They look like, you know, the actual cartoon characters. But whenever you try to stand them, I mean,
They
they're
look really
they're
top
tall.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're top heavy, and you'd have to. I mean, they do come with stands that you can stick on one foot and stand them up. I mean, they'll stand, but that just kind of looks weird, just having a circle black base on one foot.
Oh, it doesn't even go underneath both.
No, it just fits for one. I mean, you can buy the additional stands,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna pay $20 for like 7 stands. That's just
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. So how do you think the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are gonna do this time around?
I mean, I'll jump in this first if that's alright.
Go.
Like, this last generation that's coming to an end, I mean, early on, I had both consoles, and for good reasons, I still enjoyed them both equally. PlayStation ended up, pulling me eventually fully into their realm just with the exclusives and the hardware and the user interface. Like, it just was absolute bliss to me. So I'm hoping out of the gate that I'll probably get a PlayStation 5 first. I don't know how I feel about the design of the Microsoft's new hardware. It just,
I kind of like it.
I don't know. Like, I can't, it's just not I mean, it breaks the mold that we're used to for the last how many generations, but
I agree.
I don't know.
You know one thing about that, Craig, which really like was a big downfall to me. And Dan, did you see the highlight video they did of the top where it looked like blue green?
Yeah.
That is no light.
That's just strictly
That-
ventilation.
Inside the vent, they just implanted green inside the grating. So if you looked at an angle, it looks green. So there's no
There's
light.
no backlit at all.
No, and I thought for sure there was because that's the way it looked presented. So that was like misleading.
Yeah, that definitely is. Yeah. That would have been a nice touch.
But I watched, a couple reviews of they tried to get the best they could next, to the Xbox Series X in performance, and they said the price point that they heard that Microsoft's going to give it out like $500-600 is a really good deal because they tried building just as good to them, and they were spending well over $1,000 because you had a small form factor, a micro mini, and everything like that, just to build that to get it compact and everything like that. And they said it's well over $1,000 and some dollars to even build something like that. So they said if they had a choice between building something for $1,000 over or getting an Xbox Series X, some of them said they'd probably just get the Xbox Series X, but half of them said they'd rather just have the built computer just because they know what's in it and it's upgradable. So I mean, it's up in the air. The thing that bothers me the most, and it's scary, is like the Xbox Series X is going to be third party for a whole year.
Yeah. That is kind of scary.
But the times are changing too, because you got multi-platform, cross-platform stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying but just say like, you're sitting there and be like, okay, I'm burnt out on multiplayer games right now. I want to sit down and sneak into a story and just get like, just lost in a story. What are you gonna do then?
I mean, you should have bought a PlayStation to begin with.
Exactly.
Cyberpunk's multi-platform, right?
I'm not 100% on that.
Alright.
So what the fuck was I gonna say was really, really good too?
My bad.
Yeah, Craig, fuck around. Yeah, I'm all here it is. So did you hear that PlayStation is trying to acquire Konami to get all the IPs from Konami?
I did not.
So like the IP for Silent Hill and everything.
That would be amazing.
So they're in the works. Like the last thing I read, they were trying to finalize everything. So how badass would that be?
That would be pretty awesome.
Oh,
When was
and
the
another
last
thing.
Silent Hill release? Anybody know off the top of their head?
Oh man, I don't
What
know.
was the last one?
Yeah, was it
Wasn't it the
Frozen
Room?
one?
It was PT.
Well, besides that,
Both of these.
there was one on the Wii. There was the Frozen Memories or something like that.
Oh yeah, and they said that was absolutely terrible. What I read recently
Book of Memories.
was it? Yeah.
2012.
What I read, wasn't that on PS3? Or was that on like a handheld?
I thought there was
like Vita?
PSP version too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
There's a DS version.
Yeah, it had to been like I think that was all mobile, like not mobile, but like handheld type
Handheld
shit.
was.
Dan, did you hear that EA's given up the rights to Dead Space? I don't know if I told you this or not.
Thank God.
I hope somebody picks them up.
I hope they do it justice though, because I was a big fan of the series.
Dude, if it was one game be remade, it would be Dead Space for me. I really don't care. Hands down, and Dan, you know this. Hands down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I told you, Craig. I think we both told you. Me and Dan sat there the whole night and beat that fucking game.
The first one.
Oh, the first one? No, was this recent?
No, this is like whenever it first came out.
Oh, okay.
So, like, that game was so good, dude. And another game that holds, like right next to my heart, I really don't care. I have it on Xbox, which I don't have an Xbox right now, is Dante's Inferno. Was
Oh, yeah.
so good to me. Like,
That was excellent.
man.
I forgot there's
Except for
actually a
the-
PSP version for it.
Except for the flopping dick at the end.
Why? That was my favorite part.
Yeah, leaning on your shoulder and give it a smooch.
Little kissies, butterfly kisses.
Oh, where's this going? Okay.
Exactly.
Going bad.
So I'm really happy. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about. Another company, and it's funny because they did a lot of like children's toys and everything like that. But there was a company called Spin Masters, and they picked up the DC, trademark to do figures, which is really cool because they did. You probably seen them in stores. They come out with like 4-inch variants of figures and stuff, which is really cool. Because Jessica got me a Chase figure off eBay, and I actually opened it today because it comes with 3 mystery parts.
Why would you do that?
Because there's mystery parts in it, I had to do it. But anyway, I had to, Dan. I'm sorry. It looks so good. But it's a gold-plated Batman, which it's really badass. And they did a really like for a 4-inch figure. I think they got 20 parts of articulation for a 4-inch figure, and I think they're doing really well. I mean, I've been watching a lot of videos about it and everything like that. Like I first seen them in stores, I'm like, I really don't like 4-inch figures. That's a little small and stuff. But then actually watching videos and see how well they did, and it's really cool because I watched. I think they had a DC con or something, and Spin Masters there presenting their new figures coming out. which is really really cool, and they're really touching base on, like villains and superheroes that you really don't hear about unless you read the comics, like the Calendar Man and like all kinds of people, and they're making figures of them, and it's really cool. They got a 6-inch figure, they got the 4-inch figure, and they got a 12-inch figure, and they have a lot of accessories you can get and stuff like that. And I think they're really well made, and it's really cool because the guy, the CEO of Spin Master, was saying we wanted to make a figure that would get noticed by adult collectors and children. They couldn't, in my opinion, they couldn't have done a better job. I mean, it is really nice how it is really really nice, man. In my opinion, like that's just my opinion. Like seriously, I mean, is there any figures out there you really like? Like besides, like besides like Danny, with wrestling, that's your thing. Craig, I have no fucking idea. Talk to me. And then, me, you just know what I like. But is there anything you go out and get that you're not really like, hell bent on, but you just want to see? You see what I'm trying to say? Like you want something, but you're not sure, but you really like the look of them. Is there any figures out there yins like that?
For me, it would have to be some older stuff that I had and probably regret getting rid of. Some of the old
The Matrix shit.
like the NECA Call Classic stuff. Yeah, I'm really wishing that I would have hung on to those a little longer. Those were just awesome. But I keep seeing them pop up more and more on like Instagram and eBay as I'm scrolling through, and I'm like, man.
Well, you Dan.
Is this, are you asking figures that we think are cool but would never buy? Is that what you're asking?
Well, figures that you think are cool, you want to buy, but you're on the fence about.
Oh. I mean, any NECA figure. I love the way they look, but I'm always on the fence with it because it doesn't fit in my collection. You know what I mean? And if I buy one, I'm gonna have to buy another.
I see.
Another. So I need
Down the rabbit hole.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like with pop figures, pop vinyls. Once you get one, you're like, oh, I need this one, I need this one, I need this one. So
I was like that, man. I can't do that.
I don't want to buy it, but I do want to buy it, and they're all amazing figures. Well, since you're presenting that question, I'm going to present the question of figures that you like the look of, but would never buy in a million years, and mine are the Fortnite figures.
That's funny you just said that. You want to hear something funny about that? You know who makes them figures, right?
McFarlane.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I did not.
So I really, really do like I love the look of them so much, but I just cannot buy them for some reason. I just can't do it.
What about you, Craig?
I mean, I still get some figures here and there. There's still some that I have, like, tucked away in the closet that aren't even open. Like, I have I think 10-inch Rick Grimes from Walking Dead that's still sealed. Stuff like that. But my main thing is I do the Funko Pop still. I had a collection initially. I sold it off because I wanted to get out of it. And then all it took was me to see one or two more license, and I ended up back to another collection now. So.
Greg, remember my collection you sold on eBay for me?
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I think you have a picture on your Instagram, or one of us has it floating around, and I look at it and that was surreal.
I kicked myself, man. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about is you know the horror McFarlane figures I got, right?
Yeah.
All the
the
Chucky
Freddy,
and all
Jason.
that. Yeah.
Well, no, not the Toony Terrors.
Not the Toony Terrors. Okay.
But the older style, like Freddy, Jason, everything like that. I just wanted to. I don't know because how old they are, but I've seen a lot of people say that when they had them when they were younger, they were really delicate, like really really fragile, and you you know, fuck with them or anything like that. So I'm like, I don't think. Yeah, I didn't believe him and everything like that. I didn't break any. Well, actually, one. Yeah, I did. So I had from Psycho, Norman Bates, when he's dressed up like the woman and everything like that. I was going to put his knife in his hand, and I didn't even apply really any pressure, and it just snapped. That's
Damn.
what's crazy, and that's what scares me, because I have a couple NECA figures now, not made from McFarlane. I'm just scared. I don't want to open them, but I don't know if they're made like the same way. But I knew the McFarlane figures from back then are very delicate. You have to fucking baby them, which I don't like. So if they say if you bump and they fall and just break, like the accessories and stuff like that, that's what scares me. Like that's another thing like where I'm like, I really don't want to open something. So say if you buy a figure, it looks like pristine and package everything. Say if you do open it, and like say if a joint's broke or something and it just falls apart, what do you do then? So yeah, the question I'm going to ask you is, you look at a figure and everything like that, and you'd be like, I really want to unbox it, but I don't. And then whenever you post that or anything like that, people are like, oh, they ain't going to be worth nothing. But I'm like, it's not about the money. I just really like the way they look in box. I mean, yes, I open a majority of most of my figures because I just wanted a display. But now, since I'm getting more figures, I don't want to open them. People are like, why don't you just open them? Because, they'll look better and blah, 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 and they're going to be worth more money. But I just like the way they look in a box. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's a like double-edged sword per se, because I was just in that boat with my remaining amiibos, which I just finally took the rest of them out of the box. I wasn't using them because they were sealed, and you can't use them because there's actually a piece of in the bottom of the packaging that actually blocks the NFC chip from being read.
Yeah, I've seen
So
that.
I come to grips and wanted to take them out, and I'm glad I did because not only can I actually use them now, they actually take a lot less space, and I like how they look on the shelf now. So it's just kind of preference, I think. And I mean, some stuff is boxed really good that has a decent like diorama or picture in the background, or they have them posed a certain way. And then there's other figures where you can't even put all the accessories and everything on them properly or pose them because they're enclosed. So
Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
I, when it comes to me unboxing stuff, I have rules. You know what I mean? Like I have to have a rule. Like when I unbox like wrestling figures, current wrestlers only, legends stay in the box. Um, I'm weird when it comes to it. I mean, I think all figures that I collect look good in the box, but when it comes to opening them, that's just how I roll with it.
See, I'm gonna tell you it's 100%. Um, Once I did the display and everything like that, I love the way it looks. I'm pretty sure Yins like it too.
oh
I
yeah,
hope.
yeah, that's fine.
But after all said and done, I'm just staring at them, and then I'm staring at the figures I have on the wall, and I'm like, I wish I would have kept them in a box. That's how I feel. But then I look again, and I'm like you said, Greg, it's like a double-edged sword, and it's like I'm looking at these figures now, and I've seen a lot of people with the McFarlane DC figures I got, and the way they have them displayed and everything like that look amazing out of the box. But it's like me and Dan were talking earlier, some figures, and you, Craig, you like you were saying earlier. I mean, like some of their like accessories and stuff won't fit right, or they won't stand properly. That's the thing that bothers me, and it's like I don't want to put up shelves and put them up there, and what if one of them fall and break or something like that? And it's like I'm never gonna find this fucking figure again, and I don't want to pay like $100 to get it. That's the thing that scares me.
I want to give you, for instance, too, real quick. There's a couple new profiles that I've been following on Instagram. This one specifically made an entire niche page account, however you want to word it, strictly to shooting action figures, but I'm talking like depicting them in really awesome scenes and like dioramas. So, like for instance, he's been posting a lot of the smaller TMNT movie ones that came out recently. I believe
Oh,
they
those
were
are
from
nice.
GameStop. Like if you would see some of the work and close-ups and how they have them posed, like there was one the other day, I think it was Ralph on the ground and he was surrounded by foot soldiers, and like the way they have these action sequences set up, he made an entire page dedicated just to shooting figures like that.
Oh yeah, dude. I've seen a lot of people. They set up their cameras and everything like that, and they do like they get firecrackers and stuff just to get like explosions, and they
Oh yeah.
snap the picture,
Yep.
and it looks amazing. That's something I really want to do. Like I talked to this one dude on Instagram. He did a lot of custom. Like I actually put it in my story on Instagram. He does a lot of custom figures and everything like that, which are really cool and stuff. But I just I don't know, man. I believe I could probably do something like that. But I just don't want to go and do it to a figure and mess it up.
Yeah.
And it just scares me.
I know
I
what. Good.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing while we were talking about it. I'd like to give us a little bit of a moment to plug our accounts for anybody listening. Um, Mine's going to be at Uncensored Gamer for Instagram. It's going to cover pretty much anything gaming, pop figures, anything like that. Danny, you want to give yours?
Yeah, sure. It's on Instagram. It's at figure.addicted. Anything wrestling figure related and miscellaneous Marvel figures.
And mine is at retro_nightmare, and I just cover gaming, Star Wars, miscellaneous figures, video games, game consoles, tech, everything like that. I mean, we've been friends for so long. We collaborate really well with everything. I mean, like I like touching base on movies, and it's really cool. It's like not all of us agree on one thing, and it's really cool. I like having debates in life, what we like, what we don't like. I mean, I like the subtle arguments we can have with stuff, but not to the point where we hate each other. That's why you know what I'm saying. I just like how we can talk and stuff like that. It gives people, an open mind where we're not going to sit there and agree on the same exact
Yeah,
thing. I
we're
mean,
not
there's
going to
a
be
couple things
biased.
yeah, I mean, there's a couple things we will agree on, but majority of like different things we won't, which is really cool. It gives a lot of people, be like, okay, well, it gives people options to be okay, well, he likes it, but he doesn't, so let me dive further in and see, if I'm gonna like it or not. Which is really cool. Which I really want to do on this podcast is I'm going to talk more about video games, figures, and everything like that. I mean, figures from wrestling to anything imaginable that we collect and stuff and what we like. And Craig does a really good job on like reviews. He does weekly updates and everything like that. If you want anything to know about wrestling figures and stuff coming up, look into Dan, like a Figure Addicted. I mean, he does a really good job. Like he came from, he got 1,000 followers in what, like 2 months?
Oh yeah,
Not even?
your growth was tremendous in the short period of time. It was definitely awesome. I bet you
Over
felt really
1,200
good.
now.
Yeah,
Oh, I did.
that's
And
really good.
like, for me, I'm more of like an idea person. I shoot out ideas to people and stuff like that. That's something I like doing.
You're a
I,
good host too, because this is your show now, buddy.
I just like talking about everything. Like honestly, like I can't be more proud of Yin's too, and I'm really grateful to call Yin's friends,
Aw.
like
Thanks.
best friends. Like honestly, like I love watching your content. I'm always watching it. It's really cool. Like really cool from seeing someone go from like, okay, I'm just gonna do this and actually do it and get followers and you know doing stuff like that just really inspires me to do stuff we're doing now, regardless if we get a lot of views or not. This is something I like doing.
Yeah, perfect segue, real quick. For anybody that's either listening now, I think there's a few people that have joined in, or anybody that's going to listen to this after it's actually uploaded. please give your feedback and let us know if you want us to continue doing it. I know I enjoyed the heck out of it just for our first run. We'll definitely make it better as far
Oh
as
yeah,
audio,
this,
anything like that.
this is the quarantine. This is the start. This is where we're going to discuss what we're going to do on upcoming things, which I really want to do. I don't know if anybody else will be, up for it, but I think it'd be really cool to do is we all sit down and beat a game. It could be from old school. I think me and Dan was talking about this. Like, it could be from old school to modern day. I mean, we can do stuff like that and really get, if people be like, okay, I never played this game, let me chime in this and see how we all feel about it. I mean, not all of us are going to be, the same thing. It'd be really cool. It'd be like a debate. People that really not into the game, playing the game, might like the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that'd be really cool, which I really want to do.
Yeah, definitely. I know we were talking about possibly even bringing in, guest hosts here and there.
Oh yeah,
We have a lot of
really
ideas
sweet.
we can explore for sure.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
trying to think of anything else before we go. I know we gave our plugs to our socials. Danny, I know you're still uploading exclusive content to your YouTube alongside your Instagram. I know I'm gonna try to get my YouTube back up and running. I used to do a lot of PC benchmarks, but I'm gonna be probably doing some different content on there. Um, Anything else, guys? You want to chime in before we head out?
Nothing that I can think of. I think that I feel like this was a really good first show, honestly, because I don't think we had any dead air. We covered a lot of good subjects, mostly gaming, which was great because the new content and new game systems are right around the corner. Holiday 2020. So
Yes,
we
definitely.
like you said, you addressed the elephant in the room, and it sparked an amazing conversation about the controller itself and how
Yeah.
Microsoft does the same stuff, and it's good. I think you did a good job.
All
I
right,
just hope everybody
guys.
else did.
Yeah. Anything you want to say, Anthony, before we go?
Um, I think
Oh, he's vacant at the moment. Okay.
yeah,
AFK.
yeah. So we're gonna wait for him to come back to
All
say
right.
hello and goodbye.
I got one more thing to touch base on.
Yeah.
How would Jens feel? Say we all took a day, one day, and we filmed it and did a whole figure hunt.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Like we can go, if we stop and get something to eat, and just talk about what figures we're trying to look for, see how much money we spend, see what kind of deals we can get, hit up local fucking places.
I was gonna say on the flip side of that, I'd like to take you on what we usually do is a lot of thrift store hits and stuff like that. Unfortunately, due to the whole COVID-19 thing, those have been shut down, so it's not been accessible recently. But hopefully that lifts before summer and all the yard sales and everything, and flea markets open back up.
I mean, I think we can come together and do this. I mean, it'd be really cool. I mean, we could do like a monthly figure hunt or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I'm down.
I mean, we can do like from when we get up. I mean, we could all cover stuff on our cell phones,
Yeah,
upload them,
vlog
patch it all
style.
together.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say just edit it all together.
yeah. I mean, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, and we can be like, okay, we're gonna get this, this, that. I mean, we go in blind, just trying to see. I mean, what deals we can get. I mean, that could be from like video game systems to figures. I mean, we can hit up Five Below, Target, Walmart, a bunch of places just to see what we can get.
Oh yeah, I
I
couldn't
mean,
believe the last figure I got from Five Below. I forgot about that pickup. That Overwatch one for $5.
yeah, if I
They were
didn't,
still going for 25.
yeah, if I didn't spot that out for you. And then the Shazam figures I got, $5 a piece, which you get on like Amazon, they're still like 15, 16. I mean, it's all places you go. I mean, we give shout out to places. I mean, local places where you can find some good stuff. I mean, if you are down for that, I'm completely down for that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So, yeah, that's. I feel we can wrap it up on that. And
Yes, sir.
All
are
right.
we gonna do this? Yep. All right.
I was
So,
gonna say, yep. Good. We can sign out one by one
all right.
or sign off.
This is Dan,
This is Craig.
This is Anthony.
and we are signing out for the first episode of Unbox This. Thanks for listening.
See you
Later,
later.
guys.
Peace.